working on a little job here. The Landani's slowly trying to disassemble itself, so the exhaust decided to rattle itself loose, and I thought before it fell off and punctured a tyre or something I might stick it back on again. Because I'm going to have to take the cab off this thing probably in a couple of months to fix the PTO shaft. That's a whole different story. I thought I would do the proper thing and put in some anti-seize grease. So I actually found this quite cool stuff from KemZ, and it's a nickel based grease as opposed to a copper based one. So we'll see if that works any better than the copper based stuff. sort of why I do a few things the way I do. So at the moment we're driving my tractor, which is a Landini Ghibli 100. Now you probably heard me say a few disparaging things about it, but I guess you got to love the one you're with, so she's what I've got right now. The Ghibli is pretty straightforward. It's got a mechanical gearbox, no power shift or anything like that. It's got a 100 horsepower Perkins engine in it, which is quite a nice little engine. Quite biddable, plenty of power. Got a turbo, so it burns pretty clean. So generally speaking, I like the engine. The gearbox is not a bad gearbox. It is getting beaten up. You know, it's getting a bit on in age. It's been beaten up a little bit. I guess the things I don't like about the Landini are sort of all the stuff that the Landini manufacturer has made, rather than stuff they outsource. So I understand the gearbox is a ZF gearbox and the engine is a Perkins engine, and both of them I kind of like. But yeah, the cab's pretty rubbish, the bonnet's pretty rubbish, the loader I hate. But anyway, so that's the tractor. I think it's 2003, and it's got about just over 5,300 hours on the clock. The trailer we're pulling right now is actually my neighbour's trailer. It's a little Coombridge and Alexander trailer manufactured here in New Zealand. It's quite a nice little trailer. I think they've had it quite a long time, and it kind of needs a little bit of a tart-up, but you don't like to look a gift horse in the mouth. It's doing a good job. It needs a new tailgate and needs a new deck and a few other bits and pieces. That's pretty good. Now, you may or may not have noticed we're pulling it with a quick hitch, so a hitch that goes on a 3-point linkage. I'm really not a fan of them, but it is saving me quite a bit of time. It's making loading and unloading this trailer a little bit easier. The reason I'm not a big fan of quick hitches is when you mount a trailer on the 3-point linkage, there's a few things that come up that can create problems. So the first thing is, if you don't have your draft control mechanism sorted properly, then your 3-point linkage can raise at inopportune times. So under braking sometimes. Most people's plough arms don't have downforce, and this tractor's the same, it doesn't have downforce. So what that means is, say if I overload a trailer and maybe I have it a little bit too high, while I'm driving along, if I brake heavily, the 3-point linkage can actually lift under the pressure of the trailer. And so then when the trailer's pushing on the back of the tractor, it actually is lifting the rear wheels off the ground and makes it much more prone to a jackknife. Now, I'll see if I can take a shot at the back here. It also pushes your towing point back, or probably half a metre from where it would ordinarily be. And so that gives the trailer more leverage. So again, that increases the risk of a jackknife, especially under braking. Now, what I've done to try and minimise that is I've got water on my rear tyres, so that puts a bit of extra weight in the rear of the tractor and makes it more stable. And I'm substantially underloading the trailer. Like, I'm putting about 2 tonne of load on it when it's probably good for about 5. And I'm just watching my speed and being careful to brake before we begin turns.